On top of this, he said the orbs are based on RNG, and that's not true.
Is that what happened?
He said the orbs are based on RNG, and that's not true.
Hey everybody, quickly before we get into this, one, I actually put a bunch of Moira today and climbed to the same rank that my Doomfist account was on in my unranked GM, and I had better stats on the Moira account than I did on my Doomfist account in terms of damage per 10, on top of the healing per 10, eliminations per 10, eliminations per life, and I think deaths per 10. We're all better on Moira, a hero that I have never played. I have less than 10 hours of time on Moira and probably about 100 or so hours on Doomfist, okay? Just take that with a grain of salt and think about that going through the video. There's gonna be some more info down in the description. Hope you all enjoy it. And by the way, one point I missed is that Moira's utility is also an AoE healing over time with the new buff that came in. I forgot to mention that midway through this video, but no, that is another part of her utility, which I will cover in about 3 minutes. So here we go. Enjoy the video. I'm gonna be fair. Is broken. Okay. She does because I know Hoshi. I consider myself to be friends with Hoshi, so this is definitely gonna be a bit better. I just want to point out that they have somebody named Garp on their team, and if that's not a One Piece reference, I'm gonna be upset.
Now, today I want to address some of the points that were made by Samito, and if you guys don't know who Samito is, he's basically a top 500 DPS player who plays a lot of Doomfist, and he's pretty high ranked. He made a video talking about how
I just want to say, I don't know if I'm happy or I'm sad that I have moved on from a Brig player chat.
Broken at the moment and needs to be nerfed, and I tried to summarize the key points of his video in those clips that you saw just then. So in this video I want to address some of the things that he said and why I believe it's misleading.
Should I be in
don't
queue?
think Moira is broken at all. In fact, I think she's in a really good spot that we haven't seen her in a very long time, and that's largely due to her capabilities and role within the current meta. So first of all, in Samito's video, he tried to back up a lot of his points by showcasing some Moira gameplay of him smurfing at plat rank and trying to demonstrate how powerful she is against a team that wasn't running Moira. I don't think this was the best way of proving his points, because I'm pretty certain any top 500 player that was smurfing in plat could steamroll the enemy team with, you know, almost any hero. Now, one of the first points that Samito makes is that Damage Orb is a stupid ability that doesn't belong on Moira as a support hero. Disagree with this statement, because support characters should have some sort of utility or offensive ability to complement their healing.
So I agree. Support should absolutely have utility that assists their kit, 100%. This is completely accurate. Do you know what that utility is for Moira? It's self-sustain, AoE healing, and I guess it pretty much just is self-sustained AoE healing. That is her utility. That was the big issue that people had with Blizzard when they added like the ability to fade out of like stuns and pins and hooks and stuff. It's like the whole utility to be able to outplay this, which is on a 6-second cooldown, by the way, is her ability to stay alive. It's not like Mercy. Like Mercy's utility is in her mobility, right? Moira's utility is in her self-sustain and her mobility and her ability to dive or get away from dive, you know, anything that's like pressuring her, like every 6 seconds. This is arguably, I would say this is one of the best abilities a support can have, right here. The ability to just get away.
Like Zenyatta has his Discord Orb, Mercy has her damage boost, Anna has her sleeping dart, and so on and so forth. Given that,
and you know what the difference is from all of those abilities though? The difference is between all of those abilities and what Moira can do is that none of those abilities are as consistent and frequent as Moira's damage in general. Like, not only are those abilities, most of them skill shots as well, like you have to actually skill shot people to get value from it. They're way less consistent and way less effective. So yes, I agree with you, but like you also have to weigh the scales of how effective, how effective these abilities actually are.
Given that Moira doesn't have much utility, the fact that
No, that's not true. That's not true. That's not true. Now, I'm somebody who used to think that Moira's utility wasn't as good as it was, right? I think 2-2-2-1 really changed that, and the ultimate economy nerf also really changed that, making Moira's utility be way more effective. But to say Moira doesn't have much utility, like her abilities are by far the best Granted, in this meta, but we also have to recognize that 222 really did change the structure of this game. So it's very hard to compare the past to the present a lot of the times, especially when it comes to metas. But to say Moira doesn't have a lot of utility is just inaccurate. Really so. It's just so broken. I can just dodge everything.
That damage orb provides a little bit more damage, makes up for that. On top of this, he said the orbs are based on RNG, and that's not true.
They're based on RNG, and that's not true.
One of the main considerations as a Moira player is the positioning of your orbs and how you're going to angle it in order to get the most value out of them.
Okay, yeah, I could say the same thing for scatter, right? Like, obviously, like, you aim the orb in a general direction, of course, 100%, but there are many times where you would just shoot it and it would do all the work for you. You're not actually, like, having to aim it. Like, you launch, you throw a Hail Mary, and a lot of the times it gets value for absolutely nothing. Like, that's the problem. I can't say that that is anywhere remotely near skill. The fact that that exists and that happens consistently is just, you can't say that that requires any mechanics. It doesn't. The player's getting rewarded for doing absolutely fucking nothing other than using the ability. The golden age of Overwatch was when it wasn't about the kit the player was playing, it was what they actually could do with that kit. Now, granted, there were a lot of heroes that were kind of pretty bad back then. Like, Sim was pretty bad, like, Torp was pretty bad. Like, a lot of these characters hadn't been reworked, and it's tough to maintain that. But if you look back to, like, Season 2 to 4, all of the characters that were meta and all the characters that were played were all characters that relied on your mechanics ability to actually derive value out of the kit. It wasn't you just using the ability and having the ability be so easy and so effective that players were able to get value from it automatically. That's what Moira's orb is. That's what the damage orb is. I don't have a problem with the healing orb being in the game because she's designed to be a really easy heal bot. That's what she's supposed to be good for. I don't want her to lose that. I want her to lose the excess part of her kit that has a damage orb bouncing around the walls like 17 seconds every game, or 17 times every game, and just getting random kills and random damage, okay? Here's what's gonna happen if you remove the orb, which is why it's the only thing I really want changed with her kit. If you remove the orb, she loses her ability to get that 9% ult charge before every fight for free. And if that happens, it's gonna be much more difficult for her to actually build her ultimate and stuff like that.
Last time I checked, most of the support characters in the game can get their ultimate pretty quickly, and they don't really require much mechanical aim or skill.
Please stop saying this. How, guys? How can you say that other healers don't require mechanical skill? All of them are mechanically intensive. Ana, even Baptiste, like Baptiste gets it from healing. Like, Ana has to aim and heal and land nades. Like, they're all like literally like how can you tell me that this
their ultimate
doing
quickly,
this
and they
is even close to the same as like an Ana landing a sky nade or landing a fat nade off a pole or timing when the Zarya bubbles are down and hitting the nade? Like, it's not even comparable, and I can't believe people seriously want to compare this and use it as an argument. This is free value. It's free value. It's literally free real estate. I don't know, man.
They don't really require much mechanical aim or skill either, apart from Ana. Yes, you got your ultimate quickly, but that doesn't mean Moira is broken. Just speaking of which, I really don't think Moira's ultimate is that strong compared to the other support characters. Yes, she can damage and heal during Coalescence, but it's not like crazy amounts that instantly wipe out the enemy team.
See, it's what makes her so good is, I can agree with this, her ult is strong, like her ult is good. And the thing is, right now, it's not counterable. But here's the big thing. Here's why Moira ult is so good. It's because it comes up so fast in this meta, right? Mostly because of the damage orb, right? I personally think that if the damage orb goes away, like, this wouldn't happen, okay? But the reason why it's so strong is because it's up, like, every single fight. Like, Ana's nano boost and her inability to self-sustain cannot keep up with this kit. And especially with the fact that you get the ult, like, for free because of the damage orbs. Like, I would say realistically, like, 30% of your ult every time you get it is from spamming damage orbs, at least from what I've seen. I mean, if you look at these clips in Overwatch League, like, it speaks for itself. Like, the ult inherently is not overpowered. It's just so, it comes up so fast. That's what makes it so viable, right? So So again, I agree that her ult's not like fundamentally OP, but you can't counterplay it because it comes up so quickly, which is the main problem. And that the root cause of it coming up so quickly is the damage orb.
And let's not forget that she can't cancel her own ult when she's using it, which places her at risk. And more often than not, any damage that Moira does during Coalescence would have been mitigated by the enemy team's heals. Which brings me to my next point, which is that...
See, here's the thing. It's not... Here's what people don't understand about, like... This is what a lot of Moira players say to me as well. It's like, oh, you're just charging their support ults. Which, first of all, okay. You're charging your support ult, too. Like, don't give me that. Second, the ability to negate healing. So, basically, if you're coalescing a whole team, that extra damage is essentially negating their healing for your DPS. Right? So not only are you able to mass heal like your team, which is good, like that's what this ultimate should do. I'm not saying her ultimate should get nerfed. Like this is good design, right? From her ultimate. I mean, you can make an argument that like, you know, the visual clutter of Overwatch is kind of taken away from the game, but that's a whole other discussion. We're just talking about how the ultimate like functions within her kit. Yeah, that's good. That's what it should do, but don't undervalue the fact that you are mitigating a lot of the healing that their teammates are getting. That seriously enables your DPS, right? That seriously enables your DPS. So don't say that if you're saying that it doesn't get value because they just get healed up, that's just not true.
Before role queue and before this meta, people were literally trash talking and flaming Moira players. And even though she has gotten a slight buff, not much has changed with her kit since then.
Okay. That's not true entirely. That's not entirely true. Here's why people were flaming Moira players during the GOATS meta, okay? If you can run 3 supports, right? Moira's like utility and the value that she can actually give is significantly lower, right? So if you look at the GOATS meta, I explained this in the last video, okay? If you coalescence a Zen, like with a Brig and a Lucio, and the Brig gets her Inspire up, you're really just like you're not gonna actually do anything. Like you're not gonna mitigate the amount of healing that there is in the game, right? But with 2-2-2 and there's only 2 supports, you can. It's a fundamentally different game, and it kind of sucks because only certain characters got fundamentally changed. I agree with you on that, but you know, it's not really comparable. And the ultimate charge rate nerf, okay, the 12% was also a big indirect buff to Moira because, like I said, she gets her coalescence so fast. And with ultimates being so good in Overwatch, if a hero like this gets her ultimate so fast while requiring nothing, it is a broken character. It absolutely is broken. It gives value for nothing. It breaks the SR system because people can just climb for free without like requiring anything that demanding compared to the other counterparts, you know, in the kit. The ultimate nerf to other characters, if Moira can get her ult much faster, and again, the root cause of that being the damage orb spam that you get for free at the start of every fight, then it puts her at a massive advantage compared to other characters. Not to mention, this meta revolves around self-sustain characters, and having the best sustainability in all the support category on a 6-second cooldown, and self-healing based off doing damage, it makes her one of the best hybrid heroes in the game.
If anything, it's the shield meta that has made her effective, and that doesn't mean that the character itself is broken. And you know, this is the argument that a lot of Doomfist mains have tried to use when I say Doomfist is broken. They say that he's only strong because of the meta. Well, isn't this true for Moira as well? Yes,
Moira is definitely strong because of the meta. I agree. Like, this meta definitely helped her a lot, and I think D.Va maybe potentially coming back into it could help a ton. But that doesn't change the fact that she and first of all, Doomfist is not a part of this conversation. I don't really want to talk about Doomfist right now, mostly because he has gotten his nerfs already. We wanted to see, a lot of Doomfist players wanted to see where he would end up because of the meta, and it was very clear towards the end that he definitely did need to get nerfed, and I'm glad he did. However, they were skeptical because he's been nerfed and buffed several times, and each time they've done it, they've incrementally like killed off the character entirely. Okay, let me keep playing this.
Say that dive team comps were brought back into the meta. Do you really think that Moira would still be broken with her current kit?
Yes. Yes, she would still be really good. Yes, D.Va can eat her orbs, but she still has really, really good self-sustain, right? Like, these brawl comps would be really, really strong. That's the main point that, you know, I want to make. I think Ana would still be good, but it would definitely be a balance between the comps. I just want to add on to this point, editing this right now. More teams have been running Lucio, Moira, Sombra, Tracer dive than Ana, Genji dive. The only time you'll see Ana, Genji dive over Sombra, Tracer dive is if somebody's running like a Bastion bunker and you need EMP Nanoblade to go into the next fight. But with the 12% ultimate reduction, that Fusion dive comp, because Fusion were the first people to do it with EMP Nanoblade, win condition, as well as Diva Bomb, got nerfed since the ultimate charge rates in the game got nerfed. So on Koths, you'd almost exclusively realistically see dive Lucio Moira because it's just too risky to run the Ana.
Well, clearly not, because we've had that situation before, and we've seen that Moira is barely picked when dive heroes are popular.
I'm fragging out and I'm not doing anything of merit. Like, I'm not doing anything that should be rewarding me. Like, if I did what I'm doing on other characters on Moira, it wouldn't matter. Arissa, can you pull them together right now?
Given that you're playing at a rank around 4 tiers below your actual
this doesn't
rank,
matter.
I'm not that surprised that you're fragging out on Moira, let alone any other character.
That's not the point.
For that, you say you're not doing anything of merit or that you should be rewarded for, but let's not forget the enemy team are full of plat players and they don't know how to punish you for playing so aggressively. And just this—
Wait, so I thought I was playing too passive on Moira. It doesn't matter. Like, honestly, it's kind of my bad for, like, giving people ammo to, like, kind of, you know, divert away from the fact that the kit is too easy, right? By playing in plat, it was just, like, the easiest video I could get for it. So the point is, it doesn't matter if you're in bronze or GM, okay? At the end of the day, this damage orb's value that it gives to Moira does not require mechanics. It doesn't require anything. And it's a free 10% ult charge. Whatever. Sorry for, you know, lying about it, whatever. It's a free 9% ult charge when used properly. And it's so easy to use properly that it literally bounces back off walls. That is the problem with Moira's kit.
I noticed that Samito is harping a lot about mechanics here, and first of all, Moira was never meant to be an insanely mechanically challenging.
Exactly. She was never meant to be a mechanically challenging hero. That is perfectly fine, and I agree with you there. But if she's not meant to be a mechanically challenging hero, she cannot be more effective than the heroes that are mechanically challenging. This breaks the game, and you can see it from the results of the Mercy meta and the Goats meta with Brig, okay? That completely breaks the game and the skill system, which is exactly why this damage orb needs to get removed or reworked entirely. You're exactly right. And there's no problem with heroes like Moira, Brig, Mercy being in the game. In fact, it adds a lot of good diversity to Overwatch. I agree, 100%. But if these heroes become dominant in the meta, it breaks the game, and it can't happen. It can't happen. It'll make people quit. Because what's the point of grinding to get good at a competitive game if other players can just play a hero like Moira and just be miles ahead of any other support?
Hero. And secondly, even though I'm not the greatest Moira player, I know that there are a lot of things that you can do to maximize the value that you get out of her mechanically.
That's
and I'm
very
sure
true.
that if someone who has mastered Moira, such as Tesla, was to look at Samito's gameplay in that video, he would be able to pick out things that he could improve on mechanically.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. I'm not that great of a Moira player either. You're absolutely right. And there are things you can do mechanically to be better on Moira and reach her skill ceiling. But at the end of the day, her skill ceiling is still so low for getting so much value. That's the problem. It doesn't matter if you pick apart someone's gameplay. Like, at the end of the day, the people's issue is not with their own gameplay. It's with the floor, with how easy it is to get into Moira and how much value she should get while being a low skill ceiling hero. That's the problem. You can pick apart gameplay and analyze gameplay all you want and say, oh my god, like, this guy played in plat, therefore it doesn't matter. That has nothing to do with the argument and the consensus that the community as a whole has come to, right? The consensus that we have come to is that Moira, being a very easy to play hero to get value from, is more effective than the heroes like Ana, who are harder to play but have a lower reward ceiling in this meta. That's the problem. That's why she needs to get tuned. It doesn't matter if my Moira play was good or bad. It doesn't matter if I was not playing her to her potential.
So, his point in the video that Moira is super easy to play, she gets too much value out of her kit. And frankly, I find it a bit insulting as someone who doesn't even play that much Moira that he's crying and whining about a support character who's only really effective right now because of the meta. And it sucks because it's opinions like this that gets heroes nerfed to oblivion to the point of uselessness, like we've seen with Mercy, and now we're seeing
uselessness.
Whereas it's never—
Mercy is not useless. Mercy is a really good character. We saw a lot of Mercy played in pro play. A lot of Mercy. And you know what? After Shanghai destroyed the shock, okay, they didn't destroy the shock, but they destroyed the playoffs in stage 3. Do you know one of the heroes they played the most? Mercy and Pharmacy. Like, first of all, it's not bitching and whining when you're coming out and saying a character is fundamentally overpowered and it's destroying the game. okay? You addressed none of my point. Honestly, I don't even know what I expect from the Moira players at this point. I'm sorry. They don't know the game. They don't know what they're talking about. I have not had a single Moira player answer my simple question as to whether or not they believe that Moira players and Moira as a character should get the free value she does from Damage Orb. And the reason why none of them will answer that simple question is because they don't like the answer. The answer is no, because it doesn't require anything out of any of these players, and they don't want their hero to get nerfed, which that's fine. I've been there, okay? Moira will still be viable in deathball comps. I promise you, she still will be decent, okay? But the thing is, these bare bone characters that are so easy are like higher reward than the characters that are hard. The system is broken. And I'm sorry, but if you want to consistently get value out of characters that are hard or a high level play, for example, you should actually have to be good and be doing things that are mechanically demanding in a first person shooter game. If not, I'm sorry, but the answer is to get good. Why should you, as a Moira player, get free value out of a stupid ability when other players have grinded their mechanics, they're mechanically better? I'm not saying that other players are generally speaking mechanically better than Moira players, but let's say, for example, because this is the problem, a Diamond Moira is able to climb to GM, which has happened a bunch this season, and then a low GM Ana has continued to play Ana this meta and has fallen down to Masters, okay? This has happened a bunch this season. Why should that Moira player, who is not as good mechanically or game sense, let's say they're even game sense wise, and the Moira player is not as good mechanically as Ana, why should that Moira player be higher rated than the Ana, who on paper is a better player? They have very similar game sense, but the Ana has the mechanics to follow up on the game sense. That breaks the SR system, and that is really, really stupid. But that is what has happened, okay? I don't even know what to say.
Like we've seen with Mercy, and now we're seeing with Symmetra, whereas it's never the case when it comes to...
I honestly, I would be perfectly happy with another Symmetra rework. And here's the thing, and this is something I have said, okay? Because you're saying that it's these mentalities that nerf heroes into the ground. I have been an advocate for taking power out of Sim's turrets and giving it to her dual potential for a long time. So you're misinformed there. I think that would be good for her kit, because the main reason she's never going to get played is because she can't possibly duel the other DPS in the game. She's too much of a builder and way less of a DPS. And that's tough coming from the support category to the damage category. But yeah, no, I agree. They should take power out of her turrets and give it to her ability to 1v1. That's fine. I think that's a good addition to her.
Opinions of support players and what they think of certain DPS characters. So end of the story is, I don't think Moira is overpowered. I think that she's strong just because of the team comps that we're seeing every single game. How about we mix up the meta, make dive tanks viable again, and then let's talk and see if Moira is...
Please read the video comments, lol.
Okay. Hold on, chat. I don't want to read the comments. Okay, so so here's what I messed up on in my description, so I'm not gonna get mad at the Moira players who misunderstood. When I say overpowered as an ability, this is what I mean. An overpowered ability is not an ability that necessarily like dominates the meta, right? And that it's just fundamentally better than every other abilities it's compared to. An overpowered ability to me is an ability that gives too much reward while requiring very little. Right? That's what an overpowered ability is. It's too good for what it's worth, right? Like, that's why I say Moira is an overpowered kit. Not because she dominates the meta, even though she does dominate the meta currently, but because it doesn't actually require a lot out of the player to get that value. So that inherently makes her overpowered, right? So that's what I mean. But again, you know, it's more of the same here. It's more of players justifying, you know, trying to counter my video with a bunch of gibberish saying, okay, well, you know, you were in plat, so it doesn't matter, your points don't matter, blah, 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 even though my points apply to all ranks no matter what. They never address the fact that the damage orb gives free value, then blaming the meta and saying, saying that, you know, okay, well, 222, you know, people were complaining 222 like about Moira before and getting flamed. That's because goats and being able to run triple support like essentially negated all of her kit, but that's not possible anymore. Saying that, oh well, her Coalescence just allows their healers to heal instead of actually mentioning that it negates healing mid fight, and if their healing's being negated, that means your DPS can really frag out. But But no, it's just kind of more of the same. I appreciate the video though, and I appreciate the attempt to, you know, have this discussion, but unfortunately, it's just more of the same of no one actually being willing to address my point about damage orb giving free value and trying to claim that other supports don't require mechanical skill, which is actually fucking unbelievable. But no, Hoshi's cool. I do respect other creators and the grind that it takes, so I don't want any hate to go towards Hoshi's direction, but yeah, at this point, chat, I've given up on Moira players actually being able to address any points, and I'm just gonna, you know, upload my video, know eventually that it will get changed because I know that the community will agree that Moira gets free value for actually nothing. So